Welcome to episode 1, the pilot episode for a new series on my channel in which I document my journey starting, growing, and scaling a business. Coming up with a name is always a difficult process for me, but I guess for now, Zero to Business works well enough. As the name would imply, this series primarily focuses on just business. Videos outside of this series are still likely to provide lifestyle and self-improvement advice, but these are strictly relegated to entrepreneurial topics, these videos in this series. I might still talk about how my life outside the business affects my ability to grow it, whether that be in the form of other obligations, being tired, not having enough money to do something, or whatever else, but I digress. The focus here, though, is trying to make money purely on my own terms. I mentioned this in my last video, but what held me back from starting a business this entire time is not only knowing which type of business to start. Some YouTube videos, actually lots of them, will promote the same select few. Drop shipping, digital marketing, coaching programs. But I'm not a fan of those for a bunch of reasons, mainly that they're either oversaturated or require a level of qualification that I don't have. I hate the people that make their money primarily from telling other people how to make money. And until I get rich from other means, I don't want to go into that niche. But again, that's a rant for another video. When you depart from the traditional YouTube business ideas, the advice then becomes doing something that you love doing. But to be honest, I'm sort of all over the place. I'd say I'm closer to being the kind of guy that has 6 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 knowledge in a bunch of different categories, rather than being a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 expert in one, which makes deciding what to do a little difficult. And the things I am actually passionate about, well, there's personal finance, investing, entrepreneurship, and self-improvement. Those are probably what I spend most of my time focusing on. But channels in those spaces are either, again, riddled with scammers or filled with legitimate geniuses who I don't think I can compete with. Maybe I'm selling myself short and I'll pivot into these spaces in the future with another business, but not with this one. The only passion I really have is making money, which made me realize that I would be pretty comfortable doing just about any business so long as it was at least somewhat in my realm of experience and I didn't mind the work too much. And thankfully, I was able to settle on a business that I feel pretty content with. I'm going to start a bookkeeping business. Most of you watching are probably familiar, but if you're not, bookkeeping essentially involves keeping track of a business's transactions to help ensure good outcomes at tax time and also gain insights into what's working and what's not for the business. There's a lot of benefit to having someone manage the books for you. It's not the same as being an accountant. I'm not filing taxes, nor am I getting a CPA for the purposes of this business, but it is something that can be pursued later down the line if I'm interested in that. But for now, just bookkeeping. Where did I get the idea for this? Oddly enough, my dad, because he asked if I could help with his QuickBooks. I played around with it for a bit and realized that this might be something other people might be willing to pay to have me do for them. How profitable is bookkeeping? Well, from what I was able to glean off the internet and YouTube, it seems like the kind of business that has very little in the way of operational expenses. So making money should be relatively simple. Keyword should, but the ceiling doesn't seem to be crazy high. I shouldn't expect to be making hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue, and it will probably take a long while before I even get anywhere close to 6 figures. There's also the looming threat of AI that might impact the industry in general, and of course, a lot of business owners might feel comfortable just doing things themselves on QuickBooks or Xero or whatever other software program they have. There's a decent amount stacked against me here, is what I'm trying to say. But you know what? I honestly don't mind too much. Part of me really just wants to build up my business resume, if that makes sense. I know this isn't an infinitely scalable business. I know I'm not going to make crazy money. But you know what? I understand how this business works. I don't mind doing it. And I want to get hands-on experience building something from the ground up. I don't expect this to be my only business in my lifetime, but I do like the idea of this being my first. It's tangible. Businesses do need it right now, and I believe I can make it work remotely, which was one of the biggest necessities for me going into this. It ticks a lot of boxes for me. What are my next steps? First and foremost, I want to invest in actually becoming a competent bookkeeper before I begin offering my services. I've already gotten some introductory accounting and bookkeeping knowledge from a handful of college classes, but I will need to refresh my memory. Managing my father's books with QuickBooks Online is a great way for me to get some hands-on experience during this initial phase, but I'm also going to be pairing it with resources that teach me the ins and outs of QuickBooks because it is the most widely used bookkeeping software by far, and the ins and outs of bookkeeping in general. That's going to involve investing money in certifications and books and a lot of time dedicated to make sure I understand it on a deep level. But it's an investment I'm willing to make. With some relatively clear goals, I can get to work. To reiterate, the focus now is study, 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 but get that hands-on experience at the same time. The good news is that this isn't like college where it'll take me months of prep. Realistically speaking, I can soak up most of the information I need to hit the ground running within a matter of a couple of months or maybe even a few weeks if I'm really on top of things. So that's where I'm going to leave things for now. The goal I have for this series in general is to really present things as they are. The production value probably won't be anything crazy, but I am here to share the highs, the lows, the time that I'm putting in, the money I'm spending, the mistakes I'm making, lessons I'm learning, everything. Productivity culture has conditioned most into thinking progress exists on a straight line up, and that so long as you do the right stuff, you're fine, you'll be rich, you'll be famous, you'll be in the 1%. But it's often a little more complicated than that, especially in business. My hope is that as time goes on, those of you watching can get a real, tangible feel for what this journey could look like for you, all while not having to worry about any sort of sales funnel into a course that I'm selling. This is me. This is what I'm doing. Let's find out together what happens. Hopefully I don't embarrass myself too much, but if we're going for a real depiction of how things are, it's sure to happen sooner or later, probably multiple times. But that's okay. That's where I'll leave things for now. Hopefully I have an update for you guys soon. I will see you on the other side.